start for Team Tonberry with FF1. Green is my favorite color, so we can do this, boys.
So hi, I'm Solimuse. I'm the newbie for this year, and I will do my best. Go Mog, Team Mog, hype.
Okay, guys. Is everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Do me and Rory need to say hi?
Hello.
Very fast.
Hi, I'm Rory.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Right, okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to FF1. This is FF1 for the PSP, and we're essentially jumping right in to some crazy things right away. One of the biggest parts of this speedrun is an equipment glitch that you'll notice that our runners are menuing almost immediately to equip items that, where did they come from? They just appeared out of thin air.
It's like
Essentially,
magic.
like magic. They're the magical items. So by abusing and using the memory cursor and a slight oversight in the game's programming, they're essentially able to equip items that don't exist in their inventory. The technical reasoning behind it is quite interesting, actually. It basically uses the memory cursor to see, they're trying to equip a weapon, but because of the timing of trying to equip an item and also switching to another tab, which has the memory cursor on a different category altogether, it's saying, we've got these weapons, weapon number 1, 8, 12, 46, whatever. But it'll actually show armor 1, 8, 12, 46, and all that. So, by using and abusing specific items and using and abusing this equipment glitch, we're able to essentially get end-game equipment right off the bat. Now,
Which is one of the main reasons that the PSP run is so much faster than any of the other platforms for this game.
Yeah. So we're going to see that quite a few times throughout the course of the run. So we're starting off with the players making their way to the Chaos Shrine. Leo's already in there. Solimuse is just getting in there as well. Indy's close behind. And we see the Leo picks up the leather hat or leather cap, and we use that to do the sort of the opposite of what we did last time. Last time we transformed a hammer into knight's armor, which provides a significant amount of defense to the players, but also we're using the leather cap and we're using magic to turn the leather cap into the judgment staff, and we're going to be equipping that to all 4 characters. Now that's something as well. Using the equipment glitch does not, because it's not, I don't really know why, to be perfectly honest. I really don't. But for some reason, the item that you use to turn into a different item doesn't go away. Now we see Leo has just completed the Garland fight, which is the first major boss of the fight of the run. Other older versions of the game, it's actually not an easy boss, but for this version, it's done in a round. If it's not done in a round, then that's down to RNG. But really, there's
About 3 minutes, something like that.
it's about 3 minutes in. It's around the same for every single category of the game. It's a bit faster.
So we've gone and fought Garland because we were sent to rescue Princess Sarah, who got kidnapped by one of the knights, and this is about the only bit of plot in the game. But Garland kidnapped her, and then we meet Garland later, doing nefarious deeds.
Or do we?
Or do
Spoilers!
we? Spoilers!
Oh.
So yeah, just
we've
go
helped-
back to see the princess now that we've rescued her, and
She
we
gives
get
us
given a loot.
Yes, that will be very important later on, but it won't be important until pretty much the end. But if you try and leave without talking to her first, you still get the loot. She's like, wait, hang on, I've got you a present.
Yeah, but it saves a couple of frames if you talk to her
Yeah.
first.
So, as a way of saying thank you, the king has ordered all the king's horses and all the king's men to put the bridge back together again, essentially, so that we can cross over into the wide world. I guess I don't know, it's called something. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, to be perfectly honest.
What, the bridge?
No, not the bridge. The rest of it, like the world. It's called like I want to.
It'll be Gaia or Terra. Pick
Something
Take
like
your
that.
Pick.
Yeah. So we're making our way to another town that for many, many years, nobody has been able to access this town from Cornelia because they just couldn't be bothered to put the bridge back together, to be honest.
That's pretty much it.
It's a laziness thing, I'd say. So you'll notice that, essentially speaking, we're going to be running away from pretty much every single encounter.
Yeah,
There's a
Final
few-
Fantasy 1
there's-
is pretty much it's just a running simulator.
Yeah, there are a few instances, of course, that we'll get to. We won't see them for a bit of time, but we'll get to them later. But there are a number of encounters throughout the run that are unescapable. You might notice that Solimuse just had a preemptive strike. Now, obviously, as with every other Final Fantasy game, there's preemptive strikes, there's ambushes. But with a preemptive strike, if you try to flee, it's guaranteed to happen in the first attempt. One of the biggest pains in running FF1, especially on the PSP, is the chance of running is sometimes it's not great.
Yeah, you
So-
can get stuck for quite a while in an encounter just because you can't run.
There's a number of different things as well that will make it worse, but we'll get to them. Hopefully we won't see them, so we'll have to explain them, but you'll probably see one or two
Yeah.
instances.
So we've made it to Provoka, and first thing we're doing is fighting some pirates on Leo's stream here. Leo a little bit ahead of the others here, thanks to encounters. And we make quick work of them with the judgment stuff that we glitched earlier, which lets us cast Flare within the first 5 minutes of the game. And the pirate captain gives us a ship, which means that we can now take to the oceans. And you'll also have noticed on 2 of these runners' streams, they've made a detour to go and buy a leather shield in Provoka, which is a route difference because I believe Solimuse and Leonis are doing the newest route on PSP, which was recently devised by Nicky Noel, and Indy is using the slightly more traditional one, which I say traditional, I think it was only come up with a couple of months ago, but there'll be a couple of differences in equipment over the run. And Leona's just hit a sea ambush with some Sahagins, which is fun, because Sahagins do not let you run away for ages.
My rule of thumb generally is if I end up getting into an encounter with the Sahagins at the beginning and it's not preemptive, I'm just gonna go ahead and
just kill all the Sahagins. They don't deserve to live. So all the runners not that far apart from each other at this point, which might change in the next couple of areas because they've got a lot of running across the world map to do. And Leonis is just visiting Elfheim to get some gold needles, which he won't need for a bit, but there's an area with some very dangerous encounters. So gold needles cure Petrify, of course, and Petrify being a very dangerous status effect.
Yep. Now, you'll see there's quite a few places throughout the run where their runners will save. With the PSP version and also the GBA version, you're able to save anywhere. The PSX version, you're able to save anywhere, but not properly. It uses a memo save feature rather than a full save feature, where you can save anywhere, but if your console resets, then you have to load from a memory card save. If you're not memo saving, you have to save using a tent or an inn or something like that. It's not great. But with the GBA and with the PSP versions, it lets you save anywhere, so we'll probably see that quite once or twice throughout the run before any quite nasty bits. Because there's not too many of them in the PSP any % run, but there's still some places where you're better off saving if you want to guarantee you're going to finish the run. Exactly.
You usually wouldn't save that much if you were going for a PB or a world record, but in something like this, you will see a couple of safety saves.
Yeah. I mean, beating the game single segment is, it's a common It's quite common, but it still will catch you off guard from time to time. So
Yeah.
it is, it's a good idea to save.
So Leonis and Solimuse are just hitting the Marsh Cave, which is we've detoured a little bit of the plot where we were told to go to the Marsh Cave to get something, and we've just gone straight there.
We've skipped a lot of
a lot of dialogue. Because most of this game is just fetch quests.
Yeah.
And we know what to get, so we don't need to be told to get it. So we've gone straight there. We've gone through quite quickly because it's quite a low encounter rate. And we are about to fight the Pisca Demons.
Yep.
Who pack a punch, but luckily
really
we
do.
can one-shot them with the Judgment Staff.
Yeah.
So, like, you can see how much of a difference the Judgment Staff makes with the equipment glitch, meaning that we're cheating the whole way through the run.
One thing that you might have just seen on Indy's stream is that 3 of his 4 party members got paralyzed. He was very close to encountering what we like to call a paralock situation, where everyone gets paralyzed.
Yeah, that's
now
not lucky.
The reason it's not a great thing as well is the fact that each turn, when your characters are paralyzed at the beginning of the turn, you can't select an action for them. But when their turn would come in the turn order, there's essentially a roll to see whether or not they cure themselves of paralysis. The chance of the status effect being inflicted by an enemy's standard attack is higher than the chance of your character curing themselves of it. So it's very possible to essentially to die. Like, you could, in theory, just die because you'd be paralyzed for so long that they'd chip away your health until you flat out just die without being able to do anything.
And even if you don't die, you can be stuck there for like 5 minutes, which is
you can lose a lot of time
in a 90-minute run.
Aye.
So I think all 3 runners are killing Pisca Demons or have killed Pisca Demons, and the Pisca Demons were guarding the crown, which is in a chest, which hopefully Indy's going to get. Yep, you can forget the crown, which is a pain.
Yeah.
All 3 runners are now taking their crown and heading back out of the caves and up north, where we will go and meet Astos, who is the Dark King of the Elves, who wants a crown because he's a king and kings need crowns.
Astos is an interesting fight. He's able to kill someone immediately. Like, his first turn has a chance of being just an instant death spell, which it's quite unusual to see something that strong this early in a Final Fantasy game, but you see that in FF1. It has in other runs it has the potential to cause a lot of issues, but in this run, it's definitely not the worst case scenario.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a bother if it's on one of your mages because they need the EXP, but it's only a couple of seconds of a problem.
Yeah. If it's either the warrior or the thief, then it's not. Here we go. Solimuse
would be a good thing.
Looks like the
Solimuse,
thief.
Yeah,
Thief is dead.
Is down.
Rest in peace, thief.
No, I don't know. Some routes don't even bother reviving them.
I generally don't until
in a marathon, probably, but it can be a benefit to have one of your party members down because it means that the others get more EXP.
Yeah,
and we have to grind later on to get to a certain level for magic. So we'll see.
Right. You'll notice that, especially with Leo, you'll notice that he queued up his fighter and his thief to just use the Judgment Staff as an attack, while the black and white mage both used it as an item. Now, the spell itself has a really long animation, so generally, if we don't have to, we try not to use it. There are some instances where using it once will be enough to kill everything, so it'll be faster to do that than to hit everything or take a turn to kill each one individually. I believe it was, I think it was either Chrono Kirby or Cruel that took the time to time it and figured out that, essentially speaking, the fastest way to deal with Astos was to get the 2 characters with the least magic stat to attack normally, and then get the other 2 to cast with the item. So we see Indy is currently at Astos as well. Meanwhile, Leonis is starting to continue the fetch quest. He's in his boat. He's off to see an old witch in a cave.
As you do.
As you just casual things to do at the weekends. Just for the banter, you know.
Grab a moment while our runners are fighting with encounters on the sea. I noticed someone asked in the chat why we have the party makeup we have.
This is the perfect time to answer that question.
Time, if
just because there's not really too much happening at the moment. Essentially speaking, the main characters in the party are the white mage and the black mage. They're the two most important ones, I think.
Not the
and the
I
thief.
think
the thief.
They've all got their place.
They've all got their
I would
place.
say the thief is the most important, but yep. We use the warrior. He's probably the least important because he can use the equipment that we need for the glitches.
Exactly.
The thief, though he's not usually as powerful,
he has the highest DPS after a certain level. So
as we have such OP weapons, he does more attacks because he has higher agility.
Mm-hmm.
White mage does good heals,
more damage.
And black mage has the spells we need.
Yeah, the key one that we used to have a red mage instead of a black mage. Now the reason that changed is because we found that if you use the black mage, the black and white mage learns some of the same spells that the red mage learns as well, but the red mage hits the spell levels required to learn those spells much later. So we essentially use the black and the white mage instead.
Lower grind.
A, because there's much less grinding required, and B, because there's one spell for the white mage that we use that's white mage exclusive, and that's Hilara. We won't get that until much later though, but it's important to get Hilara in order for us.
It's absolutely essential.
It's critical.
The last fight.
It really is.
Lots of the spells we get are only really useful in the last fight, but chaos is a difficult one, so
yes,
it's worth preparing for.
Mm.
So I think we've just been to Matoya's cave. We've given her the eyeball, which is not an eyeball; it's a crystal orb, but it's called a crystal eye that we took from Astos, who had it, who nicked it from her. And because she was grateful, she's given us the Jolt Tonic.
And we're going to take the Jolt Tonic, take it back to Elfheim after we get out of this wolf ambush for Leo. But Solimuse is now going to get there first. Solimuse is going to be dropping off the Jolt Tonic to the prince's, or is he the prince or the king? I can't.
I think
he's the prince. I think he's the prince. The prince's bedside man.
Don't know what happened to the king.
Healer, his name is. Taking it to him, and he's going to pass it on, and the prince wakes up from his deep sleep and says, "Here, take this magical key that will open specific chests that contain key items."
Now, what do we do with a key in an RPG, guys? We find treasure.
So we leave the Elven Castle and go back in because it's quicker to get to where we need to from the entrance than it is from the prince's bedside. And we grab the mithril hammer that we're going to use again for the equipment glitch to get the thief's armlet. Now, the main reason that we get the thieves' armlets for everyone is because it's a significant boost in agility. It also is better for a defense to have 3 thieves' armlet than 1 knight's armor. So, it's generally good.
We're faster and we can take more hits. It's all good.
It makes it also easier to escape from battles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so we won't be having so many problems with all of the wolves and the Sahagins. We will be running away nice and quickly from those now.
So now that we have the Mystic Key, we're going to head back. We're going to head back to Cornelia because there's a couple of chests in Cornelia that we're going to open, and we're going to steal all of their things, essentially.
Yep.
Well, we just steal the nitro powder, which is explosives. You'd think they'd probably be a lot more secure than they are, considering they're explosives, but
it's fine. We're the warriors of light. We've got these crystals.
Yeah, you're all good. You're all cool. Yeah,
yep.
I've seen you here before. It's all right.
Now, Solimuse and Leo will also be getting, or won't be getting. Solimuse isn't getting it. I believe you can get Mithril Dagger, which you then later use to glitch, another item that you can use. Yeah, there you go, Mithril Knife, which we will later get a black robe from, which we can use to cast more spells, which are slightly faster than Flare from the Judgment stuff. So it's a quick detour that might help us later. Just a bit of a route difference there. I don't know if Solimuse intended not to get it or if he forgot, because it's quite a new route, but there we go. We'll find out.
So, Solimuse is just making his way to the, I guess, the home of the dwarves. I can't remember what.
Duergar.
Yes, Mount Duergar.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
not Mount Gulg. Close.
Yeah. So we're heading to Mount Duergar, and we're going to give the explosives to some random dwarf that we've just
I
met.
believe his name is Neric.
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 Good name.
It's a good
And
name.
what Neric
Strong
wants to
name.
do is blow up his home. Don't ask questions, guys. First thing he's doing is blowing up his home.
Yep.
But that gains us the ability to go outside this little tiny continent with its little sea that we've been stuck in till now.
Mm.
And we can get going with the story proper now that we have done 20 fetch quests to be able to blow up the world.
So now we're just casually destroying part
Destroying
of the planet,
continents.
just because it's in the way, really.
There's actually a little cutscene here, but we skip it. But there's a cutscene so you can enjoy your own destruction.
I believe PSP is the only version of the game where you can skip these cutscenes, actually. It's not entirely surprising that there are two runners that are actually close together, because while there are some things that can severely impact your time that are RNG, generally a lot of the runners are on a similar caliber as far as execution.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that like Solimuse and Leo are pretty close together, because they've generally had a better time as far as RNG is concerned. Indy's had a couple of snags, so he's a bit
got caught
further
a couple
behind.
of times.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you've got to remember that it's the same throughout the whole game. So
it's the same throughout the whole game, so it's still
Solly and
anyone's
Leo
game at this
could
point.
get stuck anywhere in the future. I mean, their equipment
Yeah.
might help them out later. That's the
Right.
idea of the new route, but we'll find out.
Right. So now is essentially the most important menu in the game, I'd say. Well, one of the most important menus in the game. We're equipping the Barbarian sword to the Thief and the Warrior. We do that by changing some gloves that only, I believe it's only the Warrior that can equip them.
Yeah, the steel gloves.
That's
and, that's why we
essentially,
need the warrior, basically.
it's pretty much the only reason,
That's
I'd
what
say.
he's for. That
That's
is what
the
he's
only
for.
reason that we have the Warrior, is so
He's
that we
just a
can
really
get,
good hand model, basically.
Yeah.
And the Barbarian sword, for anyone who doesn't know, is by far the most powerful sword in the game. It's unique to the PSP version, and it's almost 3 times as powerful as the most powerful sword in all the other versions.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can get it about 20 minutes
Now.
into the game
Yeah.
is quite overpowered.
Yeah.
We usually, if you were going to play the game legit, you would have to get it from the hardest dungeon in the game, which is...
And you have to beat the hardest version of the boss in
Yeah.
that dungeon as well, which requires you to successfully complete all of the puzzles in that dungeon without fail and without running out of time. It's a
Yeah.
very, very interesting dungeon, actually. I highly recommend for anyone who's interested in puzzles and all that in an RPG, they definitely check out the all bosses that run for FF1 PSP. It's worth watching. It's a good run. So we
can just cheat, which is what we do throughout this run.
it's fine. The Barbarian sword, it not only not only has a massive amount of attack power, but it also increases whoever you equip it to's strength stat, which that's just gonna
Makes them doubly OP.
Yeah. So we just one-hit KO the vampire.
That was a boss we just one-hit KO'd
Yes.
there on Solimuse's stream.
Yeah.
That's
so
the power of the Barbarian sword.
Nice. he was protecting an item called the Star Ruby that we're going to use to get further in a different dungeon, essentially, in order to get an item that we need to come back to this part of this dungeon to use. It's great. Now, one thing that none of the runners did, which is, well, you know, it's not, I mean, it's fair enough, but there is a mini game. There's a mini game in this. Yeah. There's a mini game in this run called 15 Puzzle. It's used and abused extensively in the PSX and the GBA versions of the game. In this version of the game, it's optional more than anything. There's an item that you can get as a second place prize that has it's a 1 in 6 chance if you get second place that you get an emergency exit, which allows you to escape from any dungeon immediately to the world map. So this is where if you get an emergency exit, this is the place that saves the most time, is after the vampire fight, which Leo has just completed, by the way. He's just grabbed the Star Ruby.
Yep. We are
Meanwhile,
2 for 2
Solimuse
on Star Rubies currently. That's another one that people forget to get.
Yes.
And you get all the way to the next area, realise you haven't got it, and have to go all the way back, which is about a 5-minute loss.
Now, Leo has just encountered Pisca Demons. You'll remember that earlier they were a boss. Now, they're not so much a boss, but they're just a very strong enemy. So they've just sort of made them into a pseudo-boss early in the game. But they are one of the many in Escape. Well, not many, actually. Not that many. Too many manys.
They have some of the unrunnable encounters.
Some of the
Too many.
Finite number of enemies that are considered inescapable enemies. Now.
Oh, we got competitions going on. You know how I mentioned that Petrify was a dangerous status effect?
Yes.
And that's why we bought gold needles.
Yes.
Because, in fact, we may see more of this on Indy's stream because he hasn't got. Oh no, we haven't done we haven't done the Last Dagger menu yet.
No, not yet.
Basically, they are quite tough to run from. They have very high agility stats, so they usually go first, and they can petrify you just by attacking you. So if you get hit by an ambush of say 4 or more cockatrices,
it's safe to say that you probably should have saved just before.
Yes. You have a very high chance of your game being over because petrify ends your game in this game. So rip run.
There used to be a route. We've managed to escape, which is good. There used to be a route a long time ago where you'd actually grab the coral sword from that dungeon on the floor below, and we'd use the equipment glitch to get ourselves a piece of armor that protects against petrifying. It was a very long time ago. We thought it was faster.
That's OG strats.
Oh,
I wasn't around then.
Oh, that's OG strats from back in 2015. The summer of 2015 was a good summer for this game.
Good summer for FF1 PSP.
It went from being like 4 or 5 runners who were like maybe 1 or 2 were active to Cruel and Chrono coming along with a few other people. We basically, between the lot of us, we just turned this game inside out. We had there was a route change every week that was significant, and it was it was incredible.
You built this game.
Hi. So Leo, you'll see on Leo's stream that he's just given the Star Ruby to a giant who maybe should wear pants. And we also see on Solimuse's stream the end of the path that Leo is going to be getting to soon, where he obtains the Earth
We're going into
Rod.
more caves, and we're talking to more old people. And
More
giving
people
things.
that live in more caves.
Yep, lots of caves in this game.
Lots of caves, lots of people that live in caves. Very strange. But we get the Earth Rod, which enables us to essentially move Earth. That's what it does.
Yep.
And there's basically you have to use it to dig a hole.
If we just kept the TNT from earlier.
If we just maybe not used all of it,
Yeah.
that would have been it. And plus, we could have taken the Star Ruby and we're hey, how much do you want to pay me for this to some shop? And we'd have tons of money.
buy our barbarian swords rather than just cheat.
Yep.
Right. Well, that would have been a good plan.
That would have been a great plan. So we're seeing Leo and Solimuse starting to make their way back to the Cavern of Earth. They're going to make their way through the Cavern of Earth again.
And Indy's getting some really terrible RNG here.
He's not
He's
having.
getting
Indy is not having a good time as far as enemies.
poison, cockatrices. He's getting a little bit behind here.
Yeah,
Tonberry's not getting a good start, but they are green currently. So
they are green. That is true. That's entirely true.
also, you'll notice that at this point in the game, nobody is healing their warrior and their thief past about 70 HP. There is a reason for that. It's not just because they're lazy.
Yes, there is a very valid. We'll get to a specific point in the run that where we essentially need to kill off the thief and the warrior for a short period of time. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, don't tell the thief and the warrior. They don't know yet.
They don't know.
So we're back in the Cavern of Earth on Leo and Solimuse's stream.
Yep.
We've come back with our rod, and we will go a bit further than we went last time.
Just a bit.
Deep in the depths of the Cavern of Earth is the first of the Fiends of Chaos, Lich, who's the first proper boss of the game. But we will still be killing him in about 2 hits.
I will be very much expecting both Leo and Solimuse to safety safe before the fight, just because with the current route and the current setup, it's become a dangerous fight. Because Lich he's basically got like the Ra spells, like Blizzara and all that at this point. So with the amount of health that our characters have, because the only time you'll see them fighting encounters is if they absolutely have to kill an inescapable encounter like Pisca demons. So generally they're not very high level at this point. So anything like Blizzara could be enough to just knock them on their heads, even at full health, maybe, depending on if they get no inescapables, for instance. So yeah.
So yeah, we will probably see a safe save beforehand, but assuming that Blizzara doesn't happen, which is quite rare, you're usually okay.
Yeah.
Lich will go down fairly easily in a bit. Yeah, as you can see, both Leo and Solimuse just got to the stone tablet that we can now get rid of with the earth rod that we were given. Meanwhile, Indy's just given the star ruby to the underdressed giant and is getting past there.
Fun fact, you can just talk to the stone tablet in the GBA and the PSP versions, but in the PSX and the NES version, you have to use the earth rod from your menu.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. Fun facts at the Final Fantasy Relay.
Thank you for the fun fact.
Right.
So more Pisca demons on Solimuse's street. How many has he had now? That's quite a lot.
I've lost count at this point because it's been a lot.
Yeah. They're meant to be a fafairly rare encounter. I don't know the stats for it, but definitely not this many.
You generally see one, but you generally see at least one, but you don't really often see more than that. Now, we see Leo has just gotten to the Lich. Now, he is healing up, saving up. No, he's not healed his warrior, actually. I don't think he healed his thief either.
Maybe the idea is to murder them?
Ooh.
Or murder by proxy?
Well, maybe not but...
Ooh.
Ooh.
I suppose the idea is that Lich doesn't get a turn, ideally. There you go, didn't get a turn at all. Poor Lich, rip Lich. Didn't even get a chance to fight back. We are way too OP in this speedrun. You know, that's the main difference between this run with all the glitches and all the others. We can take down pretty much anything with one hit. In fact, almost all of the strats that you will see are either from running away from encounters to make them faster, or it's just for the final fight against Chaos that we will be collecting spells and abilities and stuff. Almost everything in between just doesn't really put up a fight. Yeah.
It's really just the bosses that may or may not take multiple hits. But it's just, And then,
by the way, should we have been splitting?
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Oh, yeah, Rory's on it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ooh. So as of the first split, there is a there's a slight advantage to Team Choco. Currently sitting in second place is Team Mog, and a bit further behind is Team Tonberry. But
Team Tonberry just got to Lich. No, not quite. Not quite.
FF1, it's a game that it can easily go either way at any point, though. There's so many things that you like. Yeah, it could go either way. It really could.
Particularly the final dungeon is a place where RNG can change your time by up to 5 minutes just in the last dungeon. It's mental.
It really can. It's such a especially if there's a lot of inescapable encounters as well.
Yeah.
That's always the killer. There's quite a few in the final dungeon.
Inescapable encounters and ambushes, because if you get however weak the enemy, if you have 9 enemies doing their attack before you,
it's gonna take some time.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're seeing Leonis and Solimuse head back to their ship to head across the sea and to head to Crescent Lake, where we're going to be topping up on a couple of items. We're going to be selling a few items as well.
This is Menuville.
This is Menuville, yes.
Yep. You'll see Leo currently doing some inventory management. I think this just makes
just getting rid of some of the bits and bobs.
Some of the menus later.
Bought some. I believe he bought ethers. I don't know if he bought high. I normally buy high potions, but
ethers, mithril gloves, and a mithril axe.
Yes.
He will be buying here.
Mithril gloves.
Yeah.
Is this Lust Dagger stuff?
This is Lust Dagger.
Oh, this is something I don't know about.
This is the new strat, guys. What you'll see here is rather than 4 barbarian swords on all our characters, we are choosing to substitute strength for speed, because the white mage and the black mage will be using lust daggers because they don't do so much damage with the sword anyway. And the lust dagger raises your agility by quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's about 18 or something. I'm probably going to get a flood of comments in the chat saying that's wrong. But yeah, it raises your agility, which makes it easier to run from things. And most of the time, most bosses don't require that many hits anyway. So what we are doing is running away from things faster and having a slightly longer boss fight with our late game bosses.
Yes. We'll also see that Leo has picked up the canoe so he can go for a dip.
Yep, which he's just done.
Yep.
That was his quick dip over the water. Yep.
Going into the frozen hell.
Yes, that is probably the best way to describe the next dungeon.
Frozen hell.
The Ice Cavern.
Yep.
Oh, the Ice Cavern. Where do we start with the Ice Cavern?
Basically,
maybe the first floor, but...
Yeah, that would be a good place to start.
Really
Assuming that you don't get taken out on the first floor. The Ice Cavern has probably the worst encounters in the game, assuming in the main game, assuming you don't disappear into horrible dungeons, in-game dungeons. But the Lust Dagger helps a little bit. Also, we've got extra black garbs on people, I think.
I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it's only the warrior that can't equip black garbs, just because of the way the items are set up. He's the only one that can hold the item that creates the black garbs.
Because he's the hand model, he's because you have to have the other menu adjacent to the one that has the item that you're glitching.
Yes.
So we have 3 characters with full black garbs at the moment, which is a very agility boosting piece of equipment. So we should be able to run from all the things in the Ice Cavern.
Yeah.
Which can wreck us in so many ways.
You'll also notice that the both Leo and Solimuse during that menu switched their white and black mages around. Meanwhile, Indy is closing the gap, and he's closing in on Lich.
Yep, he's getting there. And yeah, they switched their white and black mages. As we were mentioning earlier, you have to have your character adjacent to the character that's got the equipment that you're glitching from, which is why they had to move the black mage to be next to the warrior, which takes a bit of time, but is worth it for the running. So we're making our way through the Ice Cavern. Some of the encounters that we've got here, we've got the cockatrices, our friends from earlier, who petrify us. We've got loads of undead who can all paralock us if we get
Mhm.
ambushed by them. We have white dragons who
We've got-
can wreck us with ice storms.
Especially if there's a few more than one of them as well. It's like
Yep,
just attack after it's not good news.
ice storm is a very powerful attack,
Mhm.
and if you don't get to run away from that, it can be painful.
There's also an enemy that can cast Firaga, and it's
Yep.
really
oh, yeah,
bad.
The Dark Wizards.
The Dark Wizard.
Yep, that one's fun too. It's fairly rare, but it can ambush you. Also, we've got Mind Flayers who can one-hit kill you, and can also cast paralyzing magic.
And
On the
not
whole
just
party?
like paralyzing to like one, in like literally across the board, just all of you.
Yep, there's a chance that literally all your characters can be paralyzed in one go.
Generally, if I want to guarantee that I complete a run, I would save on every floor. I literally, if I'm doing a run of PSX, I save every encounter because it's just that scary.
Yep.
It's just not a good dungeon. It really isn't.
And yeah, you'll see Leo's doing a safety save now because this encounter is on a spike tile. I don't think we've mentioned spike tiles before.
Spike tiles. This is the first
that's-
actual spike tile, I think.
Oh, is
no,
it?
the
Yeah.
Pisca Demon's a spike tile. We should have mentioned. Yeah.
Technically, yeah. Well,
Fine.
a spike tile is a tile that you go on that you're guaranteed to get an encounter from a certain set of enemies. So that spike tile that you have to walk over there, you are guaranteed to get a bunch of undead somewhere between
Yeah.
about 4 and 9. Usually
Yeah.
seems to be 9 for some reason. And undead in this game can paralyze you a lot, and they
Mhm.
do, and they like to do it. So that can be a dangerous one.
So we're now
that
at
helps.
the Levy Stone on Leonis's screen.
Oh,
So we're
Solimuse's just been wrecked by mind flayers, but it was his
Fun.
warrior and his thief, so that's okay.
that's actually good news.
Yeah.
You'll see that Leo is defending until Thundara hits. Thundara will hit for anywhere between 60 and 90, pretty much. So that's why we keep the warrior and the thief low. We just essentially defend repeatedly until Thundara hits. So he's made the good choice of picking up the Levy Stone before doing anything
Yep.
else,
Yeah,
because
that's what I
it's
did.
not a good idea to not pick up the Levy Stone.
Yeah. Who are you
And
talking to?
Solomuse just had to reset.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause he
preemptive
had
on the
a-
undead. Nice.
Oh, that's much better. Much
Yeah.
better than the previous.
Meanwhile, Leonis is fighting Evil Eye, quote unquote, boss repeatedly, because Evil Eye, as far as a single enemy goes, provides the most experience. It's not the no. There's other ones, but as far as encounters that you can easily fight again and again and again, this is
Yeah.
above
Because
and
it's a
beyond the
spike
best
tile.
grinding spot.
Because it's a spike tile, you can guarantee you get exactly the same encounter. So you take one step to the right, one step to the left, and you keep
Bang.
doing this fight. And
Ooh,
sometimes
preemptive on
you can even get a
Solimuse.
fight on the tile next to the spike tile, which can take you aback a bit when you've only got
And
two
do a
characters
few bad
alive.
things. Yes.
Yep.
Solimuse just
Mostly
escaped
safe.
a dark fighter / wizard with a
Solomuse
preemptive,
is not
thankfully.
not having a good Cavern of Ice here. Leo's taken a bit of a lead here due to Solomuse's bad encounters. Meanwhile, Indy is doing his Black Garb menu,
Mhm.
and as he's doing the traditional route, he will be doing 4 Barbarian swords, no Lust Daggers,
Mhm.
and we'll see if there's too much of a difference in his flee rates after this.
Oh, it looks. I think Leo just ended up getting one of the encounters that is not in the place you want the encounter.
Oh, nice.
No, wait.
No, he's
No, he's
revived his
left.
thief.
That's it. Yes.
This is
he's
another
left.
difference you'll see. Indy, when he gets here, will be reviving all 4 of his characters to carry on, whereas Solimuse and Leo only reviving the thief, which is to help with the running away rates, and also from here on, we need to be getting to level 19. So
Mhm.
we leave the Evil Eye at about level 18, and we rely on unrunnable encounters and getting the extra EXP from the warrior being dead. which means that we
Yes.
split the EXP between 3 characters instead of 4.
Yes. We also we know there's going to be a couple of fights that we're going to have guaranteed between now and when we need to be at level 19. So, you know, we don't have to hit 19 before. I mean, you can grind it till 19 if you want, but you don't have to. You can generally get to 18, do another Evil Eye fight, and then that's going to give you enough experience to take you to 19 before you need it. Now,
Yeah,
the reason
it's-
behind... Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
That's all right. Go for it.
The reason behind level 19 is because that's when the black and white mages hit their next spell level. Spell levels, essentially, you need to be a certain spell level to be able to purchase and learn certain spells. The key ones being Warp and Healara. They're the 2 most important spells in the run. And Haste. But
Do
we've
we
already
mean-
at the spell level for Haste at this point.
Do you mean teleport? I think it's called teleport. in this one.
Teleport. Yes, teleport. Aye. Been doing too much FF4 lately. So, yeah, that's why we have to grind it, is we could get away without teleport. I mean, Haste, we're already high enough level for Haste, but we could get away with not having teleport. But Healara is just too good. We can't. I've tried.
Just got to
I've
point
tried in
out
the
that
past. It doesn't work.
Indy on Team Tonberry is green again. He's just healed himself from more poison.
Mhm.
I like the fact that he's attracting the green flashing status effect on Team Tonberry.
Aye.
Poor
So
Indy.
we see Leo in the airship. He's making his way to another continent, and he's safety saving here because there's a slim chance that his short walk through this desert can instantly kill his entire party.
Yep.
He's escaped. No.
Oh.
Oh. That's
So
the sandworm.
that's the sandworm. It can one-hit
It's
kill
not really
you.
over yet because there's another enemy inside that area, the basilisk, which can also
Yes.
petrify you.
There's danger everywhere in this game, guys.
There really is. It's just everywhere. So dangerous.
But yeah, the sandworm has an attack called Quake, which affects your entire party and can cause instant KO.
Yeah.
So it's quite a rare encounter, but it's very dangerous. So yeah, you'll see safety saves there on probably all 3 runners.
Yeah.
Now we are making our way on Leo's stream into the Citadel of Trials, which is a bit of a weird place. It's basically a maze with teleporters, as you can see here, which looks a lot harder to remember than it is. It's always the bottom teleporter, if anyone's playing this game. And at the end of this Citadel of Trials, when we have made our way through, the aim of the game is to get a rat tail, because it proves that we're great warriors.
Yes.
I don't think I need to say anything more about that. Rat tails.
Yep. There's a spiked tile in here which gives you nightmares. Both actual
tile.
nightmares in your real life and also
I hate
in
this
the
game.
game. Well, yeah. Nightmares, and I dislike nightmares. They're just irritating. They just.
Oh, what happened on Indie stream?
Oh,
Indy, what
no.
happened? Oh, did you get a rubbish spike tile? Oh, we're bad commentators. We didn't notice.
Somebody got my joke.
Keep going, Indy. You can do it.
The ponytail.
Mm.
Okay, no.
What?
I keep running, right?
So the nightmares here are fairly easy to kill, as you can
Yeah.
see. You just use the Barbarian sword,
Mm.
but they're not quite unrunnable, but they're difficult enough that we call them an unrunnable, and we
Yeah.
kill them instead.
Aye.
And it adds to our EXP, which we need for level 19 anyway.
Yeah.
So Leo will be picking up a couple of chests here. He's picked up the healing stuff, which we need to. That's the lordly robes that we. Equip.
Yes, that turns into the
Stuff,
lordly
isn't it?
robes later. We don't equip them just yet, but we will soon. We also pick up the gauntlets. The reason we pick up the gauntlets is because they cast Thundara, which, it's a very quick animation. It's really quick animation, and if it's used by the white mage or black mage, especially when they've got the lordly robes equipped, it does a lot of damage. So it's a lot better than using, for example, the judgment staff, as you can see on Solimuse's stream.
Yep. Well, we
In
just had
comparison-
an example from
There
Evil
you
Eye
go.
on Indy's stream of Thundara, and then an
Yep.
example of Flare on
Yeah.
Soli's stream. So that's good.
Aye.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can see that there's a massive difference in the time, and imagine having to do that quite a lot of times in a short period of time.
Yep.
It's
It saves a couple of seconds every time, which
Yeah.
which adds up in the end.
because I think it's something like the judgment. I want to say the flare animation is something like. I want to say 10 seconds, while Thundara's like
It
2
would be
or
somewhere about
it's
7 and
5?
8 seconds.
Something like
Seven-
that.
yeah.
We don't know basically.
Aye. So it's about a quarter of
Time
the.
it on your own screens.
Aye, so it's about a quarter of the length, really.
Yeah,
No.
I saw someone just asking, why is the airship so far away? That's an excellent question. Because you can only land on grass. You can't land on a tree. You can't land on a rock. So
You
there
can't
are
land on like marsh tiles.
no, there are strategically placed little corners where you can land your airship, which was cruelly designed by the devs to make it as hard as possible to get around.
Yep. Oh, Leonis is at Bahamut, and he's currently turning into Super Leonis. His party members are getting their class upgrade. Oh, you've brought me the tail of a rat.
Yes,
That's good. Yes.
that little known thing. Dragons love rat tails.
Yes. It'll go well in my stew this evening, Bahamut says. And as payment, he thanks you by making everyone really powerful. I think it's something like you get your stats go up by the equivalent of 10 levels or something like that.
So meanwhile, Indy is has just finished the Evil Eye grind. He's just reviving his party, having another save before that horrible spike tile, and he'll be making his way out of the Cavern of Ice to go and get the airship.
Meanwhile, Leonis will be flying around
Yeah, Leo.
to do
Here
a few bits
we
and bobs.
have a couple of fetch quests here, which you can. It's kind of run a choice what order you do this in.
Aye.
Leo's chosen to go and get the fairy first, which we get from Caravan in the middle of the desert. And yes,
He's also
we just...
bought Giant's Tonics as well, which will become very helpful later on. He's bought 11 of them because it's just quicker to do it, and money is no object in this run at this point.
Yeah. After
The
we've
amount of
sold
money-
Knight's armors.
The amount of money Evil Eye gives you, it's like 4k a go. And we've killed him like 20 times or something, so it's like...
So he's taken his fairy to Gaia. Okay, I take it that the world is not called Gaia since there's a place called
It's probably
Gaia.
called Terra then.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
Terra. So we're in Gaia now, which is a hotspot for getting blocked by annoying NPCs, but he seems to be doing
Yeah.
okay. And we're heading for the lake in the back of the town, where we will find, where we will release our fairy, which we've got in a bottle, and she will be very grateful, and will give us things.
Give us the Oxy Ale, which allows us to breathe underwater.
So what could we possibly be doing with something that allows us to breathe underwater? Maybe it's an underwater dungeon, but we won't be going there first. We will
There's
be
a
going
few
somewhere
other
else.
things.
Yep, but at least we got it for when we need it later.
Yeah.
Now we have
So-
Super Solimuse as well.
Mhm.
Everyone is super.
Meanwhile, Indy is on his way to pick up the airship. And, Leonis is going into the lair of Marilith. Now, Marilith
This is Mount Gulg, isn't it?
This is Mount Gulg. Personally, one of my favorite tracks from the Final Fantasy series is actually not so much Mount Gulg, but the Mount Gulg from FF9, which is
Yeah.
sort of like I guess it's like
It's a remix
been done
of
up.
it, really.
It's a
isn't
remix,
it?
yeah, but it's really good.
Lots of
Now-
FF9 draws from this game, to be honest.
Yeah. This is, you'll notice this with all three of the runners when it comes to Mount Gulg. You'll notice that Leo is opting to walk on the tiles that do damage to your party, the lava tiles. This is a strange mechanic where any tile that you walk on that does damage to you, whether it's not so much like it's a spiked tile as in an encounter type of spiked tile, but if it's a tile that literally has spikes on it,
Yeah.
or
Like,
a lava tile.
There's lava tiles and there's ice tiles in the Cavern of Ice that we
That
didn't know
have
didn't mention.
spikes. Mm.
But you can't get encounters on them. So
You just flat out do not get encounters. So
we take a
Leo has
bit
had
of-
quite a few encounters. It's not
not
very
lucky.
rare at all to get an encounterless Mount Gulg. It really isn't. It's quite common. But at the same time, sometimes it just doesn't want you to go encounterless.
The problem is that when you do get encounters, because you've been running over so many tiles that take damage from your party every time you walk on them,
you
you'll
just
have
like,
about
3
1
health.
HP. Yeah. So,
you've got
a safe
every now and
strategy
again.
is to heal every so often.
Yeah.
Which is what Leo's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also about to head to our second of the 4 fiends, and this is Marilith. And she's the Fiend of Fire. And do we think she's going to put up more of a fight than Lich did?
If
Or
our
go down
party
into
wasn't
hits?
OP as hell, it would probably put up more of a fight. I mean, look, it's got more hands, more swords, more
That's a lot of
DPS.
swords. We've only got 2 swords,
Mhm.
and she's doing 1 damage,
Aye.
and she's down.
Back in the days of the old route, Marilith would actually be the last dungeon we would do, Mount Gulg, and we'd also have essentially like I think it's like level 27 thief, and
Oh, nice.
it was possible if your thief went first, which is common at that point. If your thief went first, it was entirely possible to just kill Marilith in 1 hit, which is pretty neat.
Yep.
So that is 2 of the 4 crystals activated for Leonis.
Solimuse is also getting quite a lot of encounters. I think that
he's
one was an
getting a lot as
ambush. He's
well.
having even more trouble getting through this lavary mountain.
Indy's currently making his way through the Citadel.
And he's just hit the spike tile with the nightmares, and it's an ambush. Oh, he's just got all the luck today.
Yep. Aye. Wouldn't be a marathon without marathon luck, though, would it?
Yeah, but I'm getting all the bad luck for Team Tonberry. So,
So that you can pull ahead with Karma at the end, right?
yes.
This is the theory, I believe. Team Tonberry's gonna
Use
build
karma
up their
to win.
grudge.
All right. I'm digging it. Hopefully not, though, because I'm on Team Mog this year, so I'm sort of I'm staying out of the discussion because I'm biased.
I'm Team
Not
Commentary. I'm completely unbiased. Go Team Choco. I said nothing.
Hey.
Alright, so now we're seeing Leo go to Melmond to pick up some spells. He's picking up the Hilara spell for the White Wizard. Now it's the White Wizard, the Black Wizard, the Ninja, and the Knight. Ooh, sends chills down your spine. So we've got Hilara and we've got Teleport as well. Teleport is a spell that basically warps you out 1 level. It doesn't warp you out completely. There's I think it's exit. I want to say
For
it's
the
been a
white
while.
mage?
For the white mage,
sorry,
it's
sorry,
exit,
sorry.
isn't it?
It's exit.
Yeah. So exit just goes plonk. It's the emergency exit in spell form, essentially. One thing as well that we haven't mentioned that's not really important to the run, but you'll see after each of the 4 fiends, there's a short cutscene where a statue disappears. That essentially says that a bonus dungeon has been unlocked based on each of the 4 fiends, where you can fight loads of enemies you won't see outside of the dungeon, including bosses from various different Final Fantasy games, such as Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5, and 6. Including Gilgamesh, by the way, for those interested.
Which I suppose is because it's the anniversary edition, so it was celebrating the series.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just be ignoring all of that and carrying on with the plot.
Yes.
Now,
Here we
Leo
see
has just disappeared into a yellow submarine.
a yellow barrel submarine.
A yellow barrel submarine. Doesn't quite sound as good as a lyric somehow.
Play the song.
And he's now underwater and using that Oxy Ale that we got earlier from the ferry.
That you can see Solimuse is actually going to get now. Meanwhile, Indy is becoming super Indy.
Super Indy!
And we see that Leonis is making his way down a side path, if you will. Now, here we go. Here's ghosts. Ghosts are another inescapable.
We've got quite a lot of inescapables down here,
Yeah.
which have all got their own strategy to be dealt with.
Yeah.
The gauntlets that we picked up in the Citadel of Trials, of course, cast Thundara.
Mm-hmm.
And Thundara is particularly good against water, which
Yes,
is
so-
convenient since we're now in a water dungeon.
Aye. There's a Sahagin encounter you can get that's inescapable. There's normally like 8 or 9 of them. There's never much. I think the lowest I've seen is 8.
Yeah.
I think you can get a 7, but it's generally 8. Now, Leo is actually going down a side path and getting the Rosetta Stone. We're going to use this a bit later on once we leave the dungeon.
Yep. It's another thing that you don't want to forget, though, because
Oh,
that's a very long run back if you want
Aye.
to go and get that.
You'll notice as soon as you beat Kraken and get a stupid time for Kraken, you're like, how did I save so much time? Oh. Yeah. Because it takes about like 2 minutes or so, and you're like, how did I save 2 minutes on that? Ah.
Yeah, Nick has just pointed out that was a sub 1 Rosetta Stone for Leo, which is very good pace.
That's very good. That's like back in the day that would have been unheard of. Like just the idea of it is just crazy. This game, I have to say, this category has come a very long way since in the last few years. We've had a number of different any percent tournaments. We've had 2 of them so far. One that just recently finished up.
Yeah,
where
that was the Total Chaos tournament.
Total Chaos 2 this year. Yeah, we had Total Chaos last year, but this year, Leonis placed in 4th.
And
No,
we had the grand final 2 days ago between Nicky Noel and Ajdeb. And there was 1 second between the final times of the grand final. And I think it was closer to being half a second or so. It was very, very close. That's this game for you. Sometimes you can be 10 minutes apart at the end. Sometimes you can be up to 1 second. So that was a great final between 2 very good runners.
Oh, it was fantastic. Actually, wait, Leo, were you 4th or 3rd in the tournament?
Huh?
Were you
He was
4th or
fourth. He
3rd?
was fourth.
You were 4th, yeah?
4th.
Aye. There was some crazy matches in the tournament as well. There was one match where one of the runners was actually... It was quite it was an incredible run on its own right. Actually, Solimuse, I think it was your run. I think it was within a second of record at the time.
Yeah, there were some crazy good
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember.
No, I
No.
think it was Saya. It was Saya. Sorry, it's Saya that I was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, ended up having a run that was within 1 second a world record during a tournament race. That's incredible. So it's always a fantastic. It's a fun game to race. This one. Because
Yep.
it's short enough that it's not going to take ages, and it's interesting enough that it could go either way. It's a
many
good
close
run.
Races.
Oh,
Like,
In
for
these
my
also getting
quarterfinals, I was
quite
against
a lot of
Poland, I
encounters
won
here.
by 4
yeah.
seconds.
Aye.
Way too many.
Yeah, not having a good Mount Gulg for anyone.
No.
And yep, that's the Sahagin Prince and Chief encounter on Solimuse, which he's taken care of with a very quick Thundara spell. And moving on. And
Leo, have you done the menu, or do you do it before Kraken?
Yeah,
he's done the
I
menu.
You've done the menu.
the
Wow.
longest, version of the menu.
Ah.
Yeah, we will have Thieves' Armlets on pretty much every slot on pretty much everyone.
Mm-hmm. I think is it the survival vest menu in Shrunken Shrine?
Not Thieves' Armlet, sorry. Yeah, Survival Vest.
So yeah.
We're
So
going backwards. We want
we
worse
find-
equipment now.
we find a weapon, the light axe, and we use that to turn into survival vests, which are essentially another upgrade to our equipment, just
Yeah.
to give us
One of the
boost in
fastest
time. Oh,
equipments in the game. And we've just taken out Kraken. It's happened before we even saw it. Kraken is the 3rd fiend. He's the fiend of water, and he goes down with a couple of hits of the Barbarian sword, like
As far
everything
as-
else.
as far as the initial encounters with the fiends, I'd personally say that if you take into consideration where your party would be at the time in the game, Kraken, I would say, is the easiest of the... Yeah, Kraken is the one that's the easiest
Yeah.
of the four.
I think Tiamat's pretty tough.
Tiamat's pretty tough.
Spoilers, we haven't got there yet.
Right. Tiamat, you can actually cheese Tiamat, but it's very, very luck-based.
Yeah.
But Tiamat is one of the few bosses in the run that's susceptible to Scourge, which is an instant death spell. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot this. Solimuse is just doing the menu there, and he is not only glitching survival vests onto everyone to make them faster, but the white mage is also getting some lordly robes, which will make her a super powerful mage because they raise your intelligence stats.
Aye. I believe
So
I noticed
she'll
that...
now be the one doing most of the casting on
Yes.
unescapable encounters because she's much more powerful now.
It also makes her the Hilara a lot better as well. I believe Leo picked up the ribbon during inside the dungeon
did
as
you
well.
do the ribbon menu early?
Yeah, I did the
Yeah.
ribbon menu.
Ah, we missed that.
Aye.
The ribbon is an encounter most of you will probably know, even if you haven't played this game, because it recurs in the whole series, and it in later entries in the FF series, it has a slightly different purpose. In this one, it guards you from instant death attacks.
It guards you from... It should guard you from all status
Yeah.
ailments, I believe, but...
But instant death counts as a status, I
It
suppose?
does, yes. It protects you from instant death, all kinds of instant death. While at the same time, the other items you can get that protect from instant death don't protect from all types of instant death. So it's...
But there's only meant to be one ribbon in the game. But of course, we glitch as many as we like. We can glitch the ribbon into a Gigantaxe, which we then use on the warrior to glitch ribbons to everyone else. I think actually in the new route, it's only 2 characters have the ribbon because we reckon that's safe enough to protect us from party-wide instant death attacks, and we have the lordly robes on our other characters. Indy, meanwhile, will be having 4 ribbons on everyone to make sure that everyone is safe. And the ribbon's an interesting one for the glitch because we put it on the shield slot, even though it's not meant to be a shield. And normally, because the shield slot has an animation when your characters parry an attack with their shield, if there's no animation attached to the piece of equipment that you put in the shield slot, then it can just softlock the game and kill your run and just end everything, basically. But
Leo,
because the
did you do
ribbon-
waterfall?
Huh?
Did you do the waterfall cavern?
No.
Yeah, because
You
the ribbon
didn't.
has a sword animation in its shield slot for some reason that we're not sure of, it doesn't break the game, so it's safe to put there. Leo, are you doing waterfall later?
No, I'm gonna do this now.
Did you forget?
I just decided to go for the chime because I always end up on things, and
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
so
So
instead of
Leo's just
pursuing the
taking a bit of a
mistake, I'm going
detour.
for it, and just gonna take the warp cube after.
So yeah, Leo and Solimuse have gone slightly different paths here. Leo is just about to head to the dungeon that Solimuse went straight to. Leo took a detour to get a key item that we need later on.
So you'll see them in slightly different places here.
Mm-hmm. Aye. And it will appear as if Solimuse is actually ahead of Leo in the dungeon, but Solimuse still has to go to Lafetia as well to get the charm.
Yeah.
The chime, sorry. Meanwhile, Indy has just entered the Sunken Shrine.
And he's just doing a safety save.
Mm-hmm.
So both Solimuse and Leo at this point are in slightly difficult places for encounters. The Sunken Shrine, not the Sunken Shrine, the Waterfall Cavern has one of the highest encounter rates in the game. It's a total pain to get through. You will have more encounters in it than you'd have in like 5 levels of most other dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them are particularly difficult, but it's just a pain to run through a million encounters. And meanwhile, on the walk to Lafenia, there are some unrunnable encounters of Minotaur zombies.
Preemptive. Got a preemptive on a spiked tile. That's very, very good.
Nice. That's lucky.
Aye.
And
We've also now that
Solimuse just picks up that ribbon.
hmm and also the warp cube as well, which is a key I will need later on. The one thing that I am very grateful for is that we rooted in the here we go. We'll see the. I'll go back to that point. We've seen here the ribbon menu where we're basically turning the Gigantax into ribbons for all 4 of the characters. It's a pretty quick menu, but he also uses teleport, and I'd like to say I am so grateful that we came to the conclusion that we could actually find a way to use teleport
Yeah,
in
that
this run.
was a good idea. You don't have to.
Oh.
You have to walk all the way back through the water.
No, don't.
Oh, no.
Green dragons. Green dragons are. Are green dragons the one in 64?
Probably.
I think I want to say they're the one in 64 in this dungeon.
They're definitely rare.
They're very rare as it is,
Yeah.
regardless. And
which is why Leo's just killed it rather than running away from it, because it's one of those unrunnables.
Aye.
Very rare unrunnables.
it's a one thing that I guess one of the biggest route masters, if you will, of FF1 PSP is a Chrono Kirby. He came up with a lot of the changes
Yeah.
throughout the time, or throughout time basically. But he also came up with the inescapable rap as well, which is I don't remember it. It's difficult to remember, but it's a fun way to remember the encounters that are inescapable.
Yeah, it's somewhere on YouTube, I believe.
I think it's somewhere on YouTube, yeah.
And I think someone asked in chat earlier when we picked up the Rosetta Stone, are we learning languages? As if they were being sarcastic, as if, why would you do that in a Final Fantasy game? Yes, Solimuse literally just learnt a language. You might have missed it. You might have blinked and missed it.
Oh, Indy tried to escape from an inescapable.
Oh, no.
Oh. Right. It was a
That's hurt.
Sahagin as well.
This one's not proud.
Aye.
But yeah, we have just learnt a language. We took the Rosetta Stone to a Dr. Un. Is he a doctor or a professor? I don't know.
Professor something.
In
One of them.
Melmond, there's a guy who gets very excited when we give him the Rosetta Stone and offers to teach us Lufenian for free.
Aye.
And
It's always really
Solimuse-
awkward when
Yep.
you go to Lufenia and then it's just like and you're like, damn it.
Oh, I forgot the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The worst part about it is just the fact that you have to land so far away from Lufenia.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
long walk with lots of unrunnables,
Aye.
which Solimuse is now dealing with. He's just trying to find the right item for the job. There you go. There's the major stuff. That casts Fire, which is a lot faster than Flare, as you can see.
Aye. So we are seeing vampires again. Ah.
Yeah, Leo is in the Mirage Tower, which is in the middle of a desert, and he's making his way up this tower, which doesn't usually present many problems, but the vampires are fighting back.
The chime is actually, I believe it's the chime that's necessary to get into the tower,
Yeah.
and it's the warp cube that you need to get from the tower to the magical fortress in the sky.
Yep, the Flying
Yeah.
Fortress being the last of the Four Fiends dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Tiamat is the Fiend of Air, and that's
Yeah.
why it's a flying fortress.
Aye.
So we're heading up
fun-
there.
Yeah. Funnily enough, other than Lich, you can, if you wanted to, you can actually battle the remaining 3 fiends in whatever order you actually want. Generally, going Kraken before Tiamat, though, is the obvious
Black ones.
order. Nice. It's the obvious
Oh,
order
nice.
because you need the Rosetta Stone to get. Essentially, you need the Rosetta Stone from Kraken's dungeon to get into Tiamat's dungeon. So it's-
Yeah, because you have to get the chime from the Lufenians, and if you didn't speak Lufenian, they won't talk to you.
Aye.
So, guys, you might want to raise the hype for just a bit.
Oh,
This
hype
is-
time!
We need to. How did none of you
Flying
have a war mech emote on FFZ?
We don't. It's rubbish. So the Flying Fortress, for anyone who doesn't know, is home to a very rare encounter with a very cool enemy, which is called the Warmech. And it's pretty rare to see it in a run. We may well not see it today, but if we do, it will be very exciting. We will be very hyped. We will want to see a lot of hype in chat for that Warmech.
Aye. Oh, here we go. Oh,
Yeah,
Leo's
it's
healing
only
up on the
found
off chance and saving
only found on the 5th floor here. So here we go.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Oh. Preemptive though, so escape done. Nah.
Oh, rubbish.
I can still get it after.
Dang.
Yeah, just
You can still
grind
get
a
it
bit,
after the
damn
boss. So you know it's not.
You're ahead. Just grind for the Warmech.
Yeah, do that.
All the time
Please.
savings for finding the warming just after.
Ah well, Solimuse is in the Flying Fortress as well, and of course, Indy will also reach the Flying Fortress soon enough. So we'll probably, well, no, I'm not going to say we'll probably see it, but there's a chance.
Oh,
And that's-
apologies for any spoilers that may have just occurred. We're very, very sorry that we ruined the suspense for you guys. Apparently, we're a little bit ahead of the stream.
Huh.
We'll try not to build up the hype and then ruin things for you. Sorry.
Right. So that's the 4th of the 4 crystals now activated, I guess. And also the 4th of the 4 fiend bonus dungeons unlocked. So now that Leo has basically beaten the 4 fiends, it's time to head to the final dungeon. Oh, no Warmech. Dang. Oh, that's Kraken for Team Tonberry.
Yep. So now Indy will be doing the fetch quests on his way to the Flying Fortress as well.
Wow, I killed Kraken. That was fast.
Aye. Ugh.
So this is the Chaos Shrine, which is the final dungeon of the game. It's also the first dungeon of the game. But the difference is we're going to be using the crystals that we've supercharged from fighting the fiends. I think we like resonate them with the main crystal, and it takes us 2,000 years back in time, where apparently monsters were a lot more difficult. Because we will be fighting some tough enemies in this dungeon, which is why it can either do you can either have a very good run here, or it can mess you up big time. So Leo is just disappearing back 2,000 years and doing a quick safety save because there's a couple of encounters that are dangerous. The main
Just
one
like
is
this one.
probably the White Dragon ambush. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who's a bit delayed, but we may have just had one.
Oh no,
Dear.
rip Leo.
This is bad. Luckily, he just safety saved. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Nope. And that's a reset. Yeah, that's what can happen with the White Dragons. They can ambush you, and they've got a very powerful Ice Storm attack, which I think we mentioned in the Cavern of Ice.
Wow.
Yes.
We're not that much more powerful now, so it can still rip us if we get ambushed by it.
Whee. Yeah. One thing as well we'll notice here is that is a random mysterious cloaked figure who's making their way to a hole in the wall at the back. That's the 5th secret dungeon, and that is a secret dungeon that is exclusive to the PSP release.
Yeah, that's the one where we should have got the Barbarian sword from.
Yeah. But now...
We'll be ignoring that like we are the other optional dungeons.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Indy making his way through the waterfall cavern.
Mhm.
Not getting a terrible waterfall cavern there. Not doing too bad. Could be starting to catch up a bit, maybe, with Leo's encounter luck here.
Mm-hmm. Leo making his way to Death Eye. Which
And that is another White Dragon ambush on Solimuse's stream.
Jeez.
Chaos Shrine is not going down easily here.
Nah, giving all his best shots.
Aye. But Death Eye is basically another one of those floating eye type enemies. This one's Death Eye has relatively low health in comparison to the other ones, but he's also able to do a lot. I think he does a lot more damage. So, and now Leo is playing the lute. This is where the loot from the beginning of the run.
Yep,
actually,
remember the thing that Sarah gave us?
Yep, this
We
is
are using it now. Not entirely sure why playing music at a stone opens a door, but apparently it does.
Yeah, it's a magical tune from years gone by
That likes music. So yeah, we've got a lot of unrunnable encounters in the Chaos Shrine, one of which is the Ice Gigas and Winter Wolf combination, which is the only encounter that you will see these guys using Flare for, because they have quite high HP. So even though it's a longer animation, it's worth it, because then we don't have to risk the damage roll from Fyra. And we're getting 2 of them on Leo's stream here.
We're also seeing.
You know what they're saying? 3 times the charm.
No.
Oops.
Free experience points though.
Yeah.
I might even go tonicless chaos by the looks of it.
Oh, that's risky.
Yeah, I know. But going big or going home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing we want to be watching here, guys, as we go through the Chaos Shrine, is the HP on particularly your ninja and your black wizard, because we've got some attacks in on the last fight of the game that can rip us if we don't have above a certain amount of HP. So currently it's looking pretty good on both Leo and Solimuse. You kind of want about over 250 for your black wizard, and probably around 300 to be safe for something like this on your ninja. So possibly the ninja on Solimuse is looking a bit weak, but we've still got a long way to go and lots of unrunnables. So let's see how it is before the end.
Now, one thing about the Chaos Shrine is, as with quite a few RPGs, there's I guess you could say there's a final boss rush. In this Final Fantasy game, there is the chance to fight the 4 fiends again, but they are stronger now because they're back in time where they're stronger. That's the logic.
Yeah, they got weaker over 2,000 years. Don't ask
2,000
questions.
years of imprisonment, essentially.
Exactly. Let's go with that.
Right.
FF1 plots.
I just
don't ask
upped my
questions.
save work.
And Solimuse has just been ripped by
No.
ice storms. Oh
the thing
no!
that worked. What the?
When was the last safety save? Oh,
My
we might
safety
just...
save
Oh
didn't work.
no!
Oh, that's really bad. That's
We
like the
just
Sorry.
lost
beginning of
about
the
4 floors worth of progress
Yeah.
on Solimuse's side.
No, that's not good.
Too much input. I input too fast.
Oh,
Oh.
Meanwhile,
sorry.
Indy is on his way to picking up the chime, and Leo just killed Lich really quickly. Lich, in his second fight, has Nuke, which sucks. It really sucks. It's really, really bad.
really sucks.
It's just a really bad move to get. And pretty much soon after that, fighting Marilith again.
Yeah,
The health has
ideally,
been buffed up. Yeah.
ideally you
Fire.
don't want any of these fiends to do anything much more dramatic than physical attacks,
Yeah.
because most of their attacks are pretty strong.
Yes.
And even if you do survive them, it just means a lot of healing, which takes time.
Come on.
Yeah, Box has just pointed out it's Flare, not Uke. Rory speaks a different FF1 language.
Yes. I do, unfortunately.
He speaks an older dialect.
It's an older code, but you know, it checks out. Oh, Indy is stuck. NPC in the haven of NPCs.
Oh, brilliant.
Lufenia.
So yeah, Solimuse and Leo got through Lufenia very, very quickly without being blocked by these NPCs. You can be blocked for about 4 tiles while the NPCs think about moving out of your way, which is what just happened to Indy. And also getting an encounter straight out. It's not going well for Indy. Lots of bad RNG on his side.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Leonis is fighting the refight for Kraken. After Kraken, we've got a very short floor and another boss. So we're near the end with Leonis. Actually, we're looking at. It's his time so far is very good.
Yep.
He's having a very good run. There's been a couple of instances where, plagued by ambushes, but all in all, you know, this is a very good run. No encounters between Kraken and Tiamat, and this is the first instance in the run where we're going to be seeing the Black Mage pop out haste. Tiamat is essentially the earliest fight in the run where using haste is actually beneficial.
Now, what haste does in this game is rather than make us move any faster, as everyone has a set turn speed on a turn-based game like this, haste makes us have more attacks for each input of the attack command. So as you can see there, the thief just had... Oh, that was not nice. The thief just had 14 attacks rather than about 6 or 7, which is what he had before. But luckily, we just managed to take him down. We're alive. We're missing some party members, but we're alive. Meanwhile, Indy making his way up into the Flying Fortress. And Solimuse is catching back all the time he lost, doing a quick run through the Earth level on the Chaos Shrine, making his way towards Lich. And this, guys, is the last boss. Leo's just doing the menu, which is only a couple of things, but they're very important for the end. We are trying to buff up our White Wizard so that she can use her fairly low-level healing spell to cure the party at the end of every single turn. So we've given her a golden staff, which is raises magic, and also more lordly robes and the ribbon to make sure that she stays alive. Yeah. Because if she dies, we're all dead. Now, this last boss looks like Garland, who we fought at the beginning. However, he's about to turn into something a bit more scary.
And a bit, just a tad bit, just a tiny bit more powerful.
Yeah, just a little bit. No killing him in one turn this time.
Yeah. I think Leo just defended with the Black Mage.
Oh no.
I went too fast on the inputs and oof.
Oh, that clutch.
I think I've got a bit of a delay on my stream for Leo. Oh, I'm getting spoilers now.
I defended it.
Oh.
Oh, I think I know what happens.
So Leo opting not to use giant tonics here, which could
or haste.
I don't think that was my choice.
I think yeah, there were a couple of snags in that fight.
Yeah, that's a reset.
So Solimuse is quickly catching up.
Well, really?
Yeah, chaos is very difficult, guys.
Yeah.
He likes to mess with the party. We are way underleveled for this point in the game. The fact that we survive any of these attacks is, quite frankly, a miracle. So,
it's thanks to being cheaters, essentially.
Yes.
Well,
this
to using glitches in order to get the best that there is available as far as equipment. And we're seeing Solimuse on the Kraken's floor, which is, I think, above and beyond, it's my least favorite floor in the Chaos Shrine, just because of the encounters.
Yep. I think it's
I feel like I speak for a lot of people. Meanwhile, Leo is now having a much better Chaos fight.
Still no Giant's Tonics. The
No.
Giant's Tonics that we keep mentioning up your maximum HP. So if you use them on a character, they get 200 extra maximum HP, which would currently put, for example, the Black Wizard at 448, which is a much safer number. If you can get your White Wizard to heal up to that maximum HP before Chaos wrecks you. So that's a better start.
Oh, come
Getting all the
on.
haste off.
Yeah. So now basically be prepared to split.
All right.
That's positive. We like that positivity.
Basically press X to win.
Yeah, once you've got this set up, if everything goes well, at this point, you're just pressing X, attacking,
Mhm.
attacking, attacking, and healing.
Meanwhile, Solimuse is headed towards the Tiamat Part 2 fight, just as Indy has finished the Tiamat Part 1 fight. So Indy will be heading to the Chaos Shrine very shortly. And it's essentially a waiting game for Leonis, essentially hoping that... I think at this point he should be fine,
Yeah,
but
it should be fine.
Chaos has a spell that basically spells -3 minutes.
Split!
Oh, and that's it.
That's
for
it. That's
Final
everyone.
Fantasy 1 for Leonis.
You, mate.
Thank you!
Well
So-
done, well done.
Ooh!
That is Team Choco in the lead to start with.
Yes!
All right,
Great
tell
job,
me when
Leo.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Go, 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 go.
Can I go?
And
Yep.
FF2 is
Thank you.
starting.
Nice ambush right off the bat. That's what I want to see.
Please.
That's actually a good thing. That's what I want.
So double drops just starting off on FF2,
Come on.
which I suppose means we're probably about to hand over to the FF2 commentators.
I believe there'll be two sets of
there'll
commentary
be-
teams for
Yeah,
a very
we'll
brief
all be
period
fighting
of
for
time.
space on the mic.
Actually, Rory, if you feel like commentating, go ahead.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I'll
I
stick
hear
around
that you
until-
know. I hear that you know FF2.
I know some things about FF2.
I don't.
So we see Solimuse is currently heading towards the Chaos fight.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Double just got killed by a lot of Black Knights. Owned by the evil Emperor.
We'll get our
So-
revenge later.
We'll get our revenge later. Meanwhile, Solimuse is doing his final menu, and Indy has been stuck in a White Dragon fight, but he's quite cleanly cutting through the White Dragons with the Barbarian sword, so fairly safe. He'll probably heal afterwards, but
Yeah.
it's a fairly,
As we can
Looks like
see,
it.
everyone in Indy's party has a barbarian sword, so it's a viable strat to just hit them all as fast as we can.
Now, with FF2, there are keywords that you have to learn. We will be learning a lot of them throughout the run. Here we see a menu from Double Drop. He is essentially making sure everyone has a buckler equipped. This is essentially so that he can build up the bare hand skill and the buckler skill. One of which is important for dealing damage in the early game, and the other one is important for escaping fights.
And Indy is making his way into the Chaos Shrine. He's just about to get to Death Eye. Having a couple of unrunnables, nothing too terrible. Hasn't been ripped twice by white dragons like the other two were. Catching up to
Ideally-
time here.
Ideally, what I'm looking for in these first few fights, I'm gonna fight everything. I'm looking for a mix of goblins and then other enemies. The goblins give random gil, and so I'm looking for good money drops from the goblins. While at the same time, I want the other enemies to level up my skill, to level up my fists and shield.
Yeah, with FF2, it's a different game compared to a lot of the FF series as far as how stats work. There's not really an experience. There's not really levels as far as like overall stats as there is in, for example, FF1. Things improve as you use them. It goes with weapon proficiency, it goes with spells, it goes with MP, it goes with HP as well, which is, I believe though with GBA and PSP versions, HP goes up over time anyway.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also goes slightly up over time.
I'm not using step route myself, but I do know, like, for the first bit of the game, roughly where all the encounters are. And there's a specific encounter that I know that will give everyone HP boosts. It's
Oh,
got
no.
to
We've just
Oh,
seen
no.
Mirage on
Oh,
Solimuse's
Solimuse has
stream.
just lost about a minute or so.
You know, I was
Mirage
just about to
happened?
say Team Mog FF2 runner, get ready, and then I saw that.
So maybe be
Sorry.
ready for a bit longer.
The
Sorry,
most dangerous
Nikki.
part about Mirage is that afterwards he casts haste, and once he is hasted, he one-shots everyone with
Oh,
physical
no.
attacks.
Mhm.
So it might be a reset, possibly.
Nah, I believe.
Depends
Nah.
on who gets shot first.
Time.
Nice.
Oh, that was close. That courage.
Alright.
Good job, Solimuse.
GG.
GG.
Thank you.
Cost a 123
Nice.
base time
Is it
on
Nikki
Zoe
starting now?
Mirage FF.
Yeah, it's passing over to Nikki Knoll.
So Nikki's just starting FF2
Aye.
on your left-hand stream.
So ideally what we're looking for in this first segment, by the time we get back to Altair, is I want level 3 on my characters. That doesn't always happen, but it will save time in the next dungeon where we start grinding.
Yep.
So it's okay to lose like 30 seconds here to get level 3 if you get lucky, than if you walk in at level 2 because you have to do some more fights.
Now, at this part in the game, Double Drop has just met up with Scott, who is one of the, I guess what you could say, one of the higher ups in the Resistance. Now, we meet up with Scott, but he's been gravely wounded in battle. So, because of this, we find Scott, and we find that he's unfortunately on his deathbed. So he says, please give my ring to Hilda. So that's exactly what we need to do.
Maria getting hit put her low on HP, so I'm just going to take it safe and give her a quick potion.
Yep.
Alright, about to take my good luck double. Make it through.
Thanks, Leo. GG.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job, Leo. Great run.
Mhm. Yes, a
lucky.
really good run. Meanwhile, we're seeing that Indy is making his way to the second Marilith fight, while Nikki is setting herself up for the trip to Finn. Is it?
Yeah.
It's been, yeah. The trip to Finn, making sure that her equipment is correct.
Can I have to potion Furion after this fight too?
Mm-hmm. He should if he doesn't get a HP boost from this fight though, I'll be surprised.
He did.
Good.
I used 2 potions by accident. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm getting level 3 on anyone. No. So that'll cost me some time in the next dungeon.
So meanwhile, Indy is just making his way through quite a lot of unrunnable encounters on the water floor of the Chaos Shrine, which is the one Rory was telling us how much he hated earlier.
It's awful. It truly is.
It really is.
It makes me sad.
It makes everyone sad. We're all sad for you.
So at this point in the storyline, Double has retrieved the ring, shown it to Hilda, and Hilda's like, right, okay, you can join us, essentially. And says, we're looking for Mithril, but it's guarded. So we need someone to be able to get in there, get the Mithril, and, make sure that we can use the Mithril. We also learn about the Dreadnought as well.
I'm intentionally not learning airship to make text easier.
Mm-hmm.